What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down Brandon Marshall and his route running ability. We're going to talk about how bigger receivers can create separation. We're going to talk about how you can beat an overly physical DB and how you guys can create separation off the line of scrimmage with your hands and with what you're doing with your pad level and the angles you take, all right? And guys, if you're a receiver and you want to be able to send me film, you want to be able to send me your route running game film, whatever it is, and we could break it down together. I could break it down just like how I'm breaking down this film and then send you drills to do to improve those aspects of your game. Check out that link in the description that says submit your film for a breakdown. Become a member on my site. Get access to that. Get access to our advanced breakdowns and our premium drills. Hope to get you guys signed up on that soon. Let's get started. So the main thing I want to talk about here is Marshall. He's going to be running this stutter go, and I want to talk about how he changes his speed here and then how he drops his hips violently, okay? So let's watch this thing full speed. So he's coming out fast, kind of raises up, breaks down, gets that DB to jump, and then he accelerates upfield and makes this great toe tap catch over the top. Let's break this route down. So we're going to talk about, you hear me say it all the time, right? Like, let's say you're running, if you're familiar with these videos, you hear me say it. When you're running, you want to keep a great pad level into this route, then be able to drop on a dime and get out of this thing, right? So as a receiver, you can kind of reverse that, and you kind of reverse engineer it to where you run up and maybe you do pop your pad level up. Then you try to drop your hips and you give an indicator to this DB to try to really get him to drive on a curl, comeback, stop route, whatever you want to call it. In this case, it's more like a curl route. So you see how he's running out here. He's got a great pad level off the line of scrimmage, right? And as a taller guy, it's a lot harder to stop right on a dime, right? But I guarantee you Brandon Marshall is probably pretty decent at that. We don't have an exact clip of it, right? But when you run up into this route and then you start to slow down your speed and you start to pop your pad level up, you see how he starts to stand very vertical here and expose his number, right? So he starts, you see this DB's in a back pedal. If we're running a curl, we want to be able to run full speed in this thing. I want to run full speed and then get out of this route fast to try to get him in a back pedal or just to turn his hips and run with me, right? Now, this DB's thinking, oh, this is a poorly ran route. Marshall's coming out here fast. He starts to pick his chest up. Okay, I'm going to slow down because I'm expecting to break on something. And then, bam, he gives him this aggressive just 1-2 and really drops his hips and sinks his hips because that's where this DB is going to be looking at. And that gets him to just drive on this thing, just to stop his feet just a little bit. And now Marshall can pump those arms and accelerate out to create some separation. It's a great job here. That's great route running IQ, right? Stand my chest up, make him think a break is coming. I drop my hips, get him to break on this thing, and I continue to pump my arms and drive out, let this quarterback throw this shot over the top. Now, this is a great job here by Marshall as well, watching this thing with his eyes, man. You want to think of your eyes, they're just like a camera. You want to take a picture of the ball, right? That's all you want to think of your eyes like. The only thing in your line of vision should be that football. That's a great job here by Brandon Marshall. Let's watch it full speed one more time. Just coming off here. Full speed, starts to pick his chest up, get lazy, or make him think we're getting lazy, drop my hips, and then accelerate up. Great job here. Great intelligent route. So now we're going to talk about this slant route, how more physical guys can create separation on this. And we're going to talk about this off arm right here, this off arm when you rip the DB's hands off. So you see, when he decides to come with this reason, this is no different than you see like a quicker guy work like a 1-2, then 1-2-3 diamond release, and they're quick and they're trying to stay in this range, right? So Marshall's using his size to his advantage, right? This is how you bigger wide receivers and you taller wide receivers can create a lot more separation, is by using your size to your advantage, being physical, and taking the fight right to this DB, right? Because you see when Marshall comes out the line here, he's going straight at him. So he gives him this one jab, 1, 2, 3, and he tries to swat him off here. Not the cleanest break with his feet, right, but we're still attacking that outside, trying to get this DB to turn his hips, trying to get him to believe that I'm just going vertical. I want to take it to him, give him a jab, and then push vertical, right? So now where does Marshall attack? Point of control. We want to attack the back of this arm or the back of this shoulder. So you see when Marshall comes here, he doesn't rip underneath with this bottom arm, right? That's something that you can do, right? But what he does with this off arm is he kind of shoots it over the top, right? He shoots it over the top and pushes down on this DB's arm. Now you're seeing here, this is what I talk about if you guys are familiar with my videos, the DB's hips locking, right? If I get him to turn and then I'm physical with my hands, and that's something that a lot of receivers are not necessarily do. They don't necessarily do, right? They might be afraid of contact a little bit. They're not. They don't want to get in there and be physical. But Marshall does a great job of being physical, not being afraid of contact. Let's swat those hands. Let's be physical. Let's use my size to my advantage. And he swats down with that opposite hand. You want to swat the point of control, which is the back of the shoulder. Then you want to rip through and push down with this off arm. Hips lock. He's got no chance of making this play because we took the correct angle off the line. We took that 45. There comes a point where every DB must open up his hips. He can't shuffle with you forever if you make it believable, right? If you take 3 steps to the outside and they're choppy steps and you're not going anywhere, this DB's just going to shuffle with you and just just pop you right in the chest, and that's it. He's not going to move. He's not going to budge. But I take the correct angle. I have the right speed. I'm violent with my hands, physical with my hands. That's the result. This is the separation that you're going to be able to get right here. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. Great job by Marshall here coming off. So 1, 2, 3, swat, rip those hands off, accelerate up over the field. Great route. Okay, so now the next route we're going to be talking about here is what happens when we close the gap with the DB and he tries to jump us, right? So we see it all the time here. If you've been watching my videos, we're in this situation, right? Catch technique with this DB. He's waiting for us to come close the gap with him so he could get hands and disrupt the timing and try to take away what we do, right? So now, here's the thing. What I teach too, is that you want to attack the leverage of this DB, right? You want to attack his midline to try to get him on those heels, try to get him, or like let's say he's inside leverage, you want to attack his inside leverage to get him to drift to the inside, whatever it is, right? So now he's going to come off here and attack this leverage, right? And again, you see, I also want to talk about his stance here. You see how his stance on the line? About 70% of weight on this front foot, and his back foot's not too far back, right? That's something that you guys can definitely take from this, is that a lot of his weight is going forward, 70% is going forward, and you look at his body. His shin angles are in almost these 45-degree angles. His body's in a 45. That means he's driving out. That means he's going to be fast. So, right, so we closed the gap with this DB. He was probably trying to close, give a little foot fire, then make a move. Now, this DB does a pretty good job of trying to get hands and trying to disrupt this timing, but here's the thing. Look at how high this DB is, right? And then same thing if they try to lunge at you. They're not on balance. They're not as balanced as they would be if they sit there in their base and they have a strong base. This DB tends to pop up a little bit right here when he tries to jam, right? So now what that causes, and I'm not trying to knock this DB, it's just when the low man and the more powerful man in this situation is going to win, right? And we're taking the fight to him. And his feet are flat, and he kind of stands a little bit tall here, right? Now, this is not a very easy guy to cover due to his size and his physicality, right? But that's something that we all can learn from, right? We don't want to, and this is for receivers, if we close the gap with the DB and he lunges out at us, we just got to know I need a plan for my hands, right? This is as physical as it gets right here. This is as physical as it gets, but we can't be afraid of contact. And you see how Marshall's always going forward, right? We got to know that if I'm going forward and you come off the line and you're at a positive body angle, you're going forward, you're in this like almost like a drive phase of a 40-yard dash, and you have a plan for your hands, and you swat him off and you go. That's how we could create separation, right? Because it's just a battle. It's just meet me in the middle, let's go. That's all it is. Meet me in the middle. But if I have a good pad level with my body, I have a plan with my hands, and I'm able to react off of this, we automatically have the advantage because he's always guessing, right? This DB's always guessing. All he's trying to do right here is disrupt the timing with the quarterback. So if I have a plan with my hands, I'm not afraid to get popped in the face like this. I'm not afraid to get popped in the chest. I'm always going to be going forward, and I take the fight to him. That's when we could get some separation. I'm just got to be physical receiver. Now, if you're a smaller guy, if you're a smaller guy, it's kind of different, right? You maybe don't want to approach this play like this. Maybe you want to think of another kind of release where you're kind of working in space and you're trying to make a move, right? You maybe don't want to go straight at him if you're a smaller guy, but if you're a much bigger guy and you're a physical guy, but same thing applies for smaller receivers. You can't be afraid of giving the DB get hands on you because that's what they're coached to do. They will, I'm going to guarantee you this right now, you will have a DB put hands on you at least once, at least once in your entire career, even if you get probably one snap against man coverage. A DB will put his hands on you, right? So we can't be afraid of that. We can't be leaning back. That can't be our instinct. Our instinct has to be going forward, and we have to have a plan with my hands in this situation. Let's watch it full speed one more time. So he comes off here. Don't be afraid of contact. Accelerate back up. Get to this route. Great job not losing timing here by Brandon Marshall. Okay, so now he's going to be at the top of our screen. He's going to be working this vertical set, and then he's going to be working this kind of stop route. Okay, so let's watch this thing full speed here, or a little bit in slow-mo. Gives him a 1-2, pushes vertical, breaks this thing off, gets that DB to turn his hips, and then the ball's out on time. This is a great route. This is a hell of a route here. So now, what we're going to be talking about here is when he comes off of this 1, 2, 3 step right here, he's going to give this inside move, right? It's like he's running almost a sluggo, right? He's running a slant go, but I call it a vertical set, right? Breaks off the outside leg, breaks to the inside, then pushes vertical, and then snaps it off, right? This would be a great way, maybe, let's say one time he has to run a fade, and he gives him this 1-2, right? And this is something you guys could also do a little bit further downfield to sell like you're running a post, right? A little bit closer off that third step. That was off like his second outside. Let's say you go off your third outside. That sells like I'm running a post. close and I give him that burst to the inside, then it sets me back out vertical, right? So when he comes off here, 1-2, you see how he pushes up fast, right? And when we give him that 1-2 to the inside, this is a great way to run a fade. This is a great way to run this a comeback. This is a great way to run this stop route, or hell, even a curl in some situations. So when he comes here, pop, pop, and you see how he throws his body to the inside. When you throw your body to the inside, that's what gets his DB to react. He's got to feel you. He's got to think that your body's going to the inside, because again, he's not looking directly at you. He's facing towards the inside, facing the quarterback, so we know it's a zone look. So he's really got to feel your pad level to the inside. Now, when I burst up off this vertical set, I got to be fast. I got to work to get in this blind spot to force this DB to speed turn out of there. So right here, you can't be cruising. You can't be thinking, okay, now I'm getting ready to break this thing down. You make this 1-2. You make this left-right. You push off of that right leg, you drive off the inside arch, you burst up field to this outside to his blind spot, and then when he's in this blind spot, you see how he snaps it off, gets to that depth, and then this ball's out on time. That's a great job here by Brandon Marshall. Very intelligent route. Again, like we were talking about in the beginning, very intelligent route runner. This is a great way. Let's say you got to run one time, you run a fade, you come off, 1-2, get him to bite, and then I push up vertical. Now we do the exact same thing. We make it a call the same. 1-2, you push vertical. He already knows he's on his high horse. He turns those hips, and he's ready to go, and then you snap it off. And then now maybe he's sitting on that snap it off, and then you just run a slant, and then the process repeats itself, right? It's just one of those things where you got to make everything look the same no matter what route it is. Or these three routes. You got to make your slant look the same, you got to make your fade look the same, and then you got to make this stop route look the same. 3 different ways to run 3 different routes. Let's watch it again one more time. So he's coming off here, 1, 2, 3, 4, push up vertical, break this thing off, and then get that DB to shoot back upfield. Great route here by Brandon Marshall. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, if you want me to take a look at your film, check out that link in the description that says send me your film, or send your film for a breakdown. And guys, if you have any questions or any suggestions, please leave those in the comments. I'll make sure to get back to you. I'll see you guys next time.